Welcome back to our Beatrice YouTube channel. In today's class, we're going to learn how to make this beautiful gathered top. It has a gathering on the neckline area and also on the waist. It has an elastic on the waist and it has a collar that goes all the way to the back. It's a simple and free blouse tutorial. I'm going to take you through how to sew and cut this crop top. If this is something you like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so for this I'm going to be using my Ankara fabric. You can use any fabric of your choice. I just choose to use this, and you don't need so much fabric. Around 1 yard is okay for this, really. So it's very easy to make. So you can see I folded my fabric. There's no zipper at the back, but it's like a turtle neckline, so we are going to be making an opening at the back so that we can put the head easily through it. So that's why I have just half an inch, but if you want to work with 1 inch allowance as well, you can do that. So from my back and my front, you can see there's an half an inch before placing my front. This is the front. So now this has like pleatings, gathers, I mean it has like gathers on the neckline area. You can also pleat it if you want. So for me to be able to gather it, I'm going to mark allowance for those gathers. Depending on how much gathers you want, you can mark between 2 to 3 inches. So let's say I'm marking like 2.5 inches for my gathers. So I'm going to mark that all round and then make it into a straight line. So all other measurements that I have, I'm going to start taking the measurements from where this gathers is, where this allowance is. I hope you understand that. So from there now, I'm going to mark my neckline measurements. I'm working with a neck width of 3 inches, a neck depth of 1 inch for the back, and neck depth of 3 inches for the front. And then you're going to go ahead and connect that. So when you're connecting it, you make sure to connect it into your allowance that you have cut out. That's the back, and you're going to go ahead and connect for the front as well. So this is my front neckline. So now the next thing is to mark those connections into the 2.5 inches allowance that we have there. Okay, so now the measurement, I forgot to, the measurement, the width that the length that you're going to be working with is your half length minus 1 inch or 1.5 inch band, whatever band that you're going to be using. So you're going to subtract it from your actual measurement, and then you take that measurement. I have 17 inches here, including seam allowance, and then the width is going to be your shoulder measurement from this allowance area. My shoulder is 14, divided by 2 is 7. So after that, you're going to mark your desired sleeve length. Okay, so those are the measurements that you're going to need for this, for your width and your length. So after marking that, now to create my shoulder slope, I'm going to come here and then come down by 1.5 inches here. So now once you come down from 1.5 inches, you're going to connect from that 1.5 inches all the way to your neck point here for your shoulder slope. So I'm going to go ahead now and connect that. So after connecting that, the next measurement I'm going to take now is my sleeve opening. This part should not be too tight, so you're going to measure very loosely, something like this. I have around 18 inches, so divided by 2 is going to give me 9 inches. So you can add 1 inch seam allowance to that, and then I have 10 inches. So this is where my sleeve opening is going to be, from here to here. So now you're going to come to your waistline. The waist has a little bit of gathering as well, which I'm going to be doing with my elastic. So here from where this stops, okay, I'm going to take my actual waist measurement. So the actual waist I'm working with is 32, divided by 4 is going to give me 8 inches. So this is 8 inches. So for that gathering, I'm going to add extra allowance, but remember that I already have 2.5 inches here. So if you want to have like 5 inches allowance, you're going to remove 2.5 inches, and then you add the extra 2.5 inches to it. So it's totally up to you and the allowance that you wish to work with. So let me place it like this so that we can see what I'm doing very well. So this is where my waist measurement stops now. So the next thing you're going to do now is to go ahead and then connect like this. Okay, you can see how I'm connecting it, and that is basically all you need to do. Now you're going to grab your scissors, and then you're going to cut out what you have. So this is my side. Okay, This is my side. You're going to come here and then cut your shoulder slope. Then after cutting the shoulder slope, you're going to cut the back neckline first. Then when you're done cutting your back neckline, you're going to go ahead and cut the front neckline. This is because the front is deeper than the back. So this is my back neckline, and then you cut that into the allowance that you have there. Then for the front neckline, you're going to raise it and then cut the front neckline separately. So in order for us to be able to wear this, I'm going to slash open the center back alone. The front is going to be closed. The front is going to remain closed. So this is what you have now. So obviously what we have here is more than our actual neck. Our neck should be around 6 inches. Remember we did 3 inches on fold, so it should be 6 inches. So here I have about 11 inches, which is way more than what I need. So I'll go ahead and run a gather stitch here so that I can gather it back to the small neckline of 6 inches that I want. So I'll do the same thing for the back as well. So when you are gathering the back, you leave out the half an inch. Remember we have half an inch allowance there. So you are going to leave out your half an inch allowance before you start gathering back to your actual neckline measurement. So I have gone ahead to run the gather stitch. So what you just need to do now is to gather this back to your actual measurement. So you can see I'm gathering it. Make sure that you check your measurement as you're gathering, and then also make sure that you're spreading it evenly. So I need it to be 6 inches, so I'll gather and check. So this is more than okay. I released it a little bit so that I will have my 6. So now I have 6 inches. The next thing now is to gather it. You can decide to just have those placed at the center area, so you can just push them towards the center part. And if you want it to be more, you add more allowance. Remember we just used 2.5 inches, and that is what we have. So this is my gathers. This is what I have now. So you do the same thing for the back. You gather it, but just make sure that your gather does not get to where you have your allowance. Okay, so once you are done with that, you can go ahead and hold this with a stitch so that it does not remember this is just a loose stitch, so that you don't lose your gathers. Then after that, you're going to place them right side facing right side, and then you sew it on the shoulder. Then after joining it on the shoulder, you're going to after joining it on the shoulder, you're going to hem the sleeve, okay, and then join the side before we now work on the band. Okay, so I have gone ahead to sew the shoulder and the side, so we have one complete top now. The next thing now is to gather the waist back to the actual. Remember that we added 5 inches 5 inches allowance to the quarter of our waist measurement, so it's obviously bigger than the waist. So this is the elastic I'm working with. This is a 1.5 inch elastic. You can also do 1 inch or 2 inches depending on how wide you want your band to be, but mine is 1.5 inches. So you measure round your waistline, your actual waistline here. Then you're going to use that to cut out a band. So that's going to be the length, and then the width is going to be your elastic multiplied by 2. Then you had allowance for sewing. Okay, so whatever you are using, make sure that it is your elastic can comfortably take it like this, and then you still have allowance to sew. So what I'm going to do now is to leave the elastic aside first, then I'm going to sew this band all around. So you're going to sew first, and then you're going to fold and then sew again. You can iron it to make it easier for you, but I'm going to sew it as neat as possible so that it's not going to show that there is a seam there. So I've gone ahead to sew my band. There are several ways you can sew your band to your there are several ways you can sew your elastic to your band, but this is one of the simplest ways. So this is what we are going to be using. We have sewed the band separately, so we are now going to put our elastic inside. So to know the width of your elastic, the length of the elastic you are working with, you divide your waist by 2, and then you add few inches to it. You can add between 2 to 5 inches depending on how fitted you want the elastic to be on your waistline. So my waist is 32 divided by 2, sorry, is 16. So I added 4 inches extra to it, and I have 20 inches. So that's what I'm going to use. I've already passed my elastic, my safety pin. I've put it on the elastic. I'm gonna head to sew my band to it, and this is what I have. You sew it as neat as possible, and then I'm going to go ahead and pass the elastic. So to know the length of your elastic, you need half of your waist plus few inches for ease. Okay, you can add 2, 3 or 4 inches depending on how free you want it to be. The half of my waist is 16, 32 divided by 2, that's 16, and then I added extra 4 inches, which makes it 20 inches. Like I said, there are several ways you can add elastic to your band, but this is very beginner friendly and easy. So I'm going to go ahead now and just fix. So I'm going to pass it now, and once you pass it, I'm going to secure it at each of the edges. Okay, on the two edges here, I'm just going to hold it with my stitch before I sew. So what I'm going to do is to pass my elastic, then after that I'm going to take the back together like this, and then I'm going to sew with the half an inch that I have. So when you want to get to the upper part here, you are going to leave like 4 inches opening so that you can wear it easily. So you start sewing from here, and then you sew it to the hem with your elastic inside. I fixed the elastic now, and you can see. So you can go ahead and sew at the midpoint by spreading it, but this is also okay. So now the last thing to do now is to hem the sleeve area by just folding it in twice, and then we're going to create the collar. So to create the collar, you're going to measure around your neckline. Then after measuring around your neckline, you're going to bring your collar depending on how wide you want the collar to be. So this is what I'm going to be using for my collar, and then unfold. I have about 1.5 inches thereabouts. Okay, so I have 1.75, so I'm going to be folding it in twice, and then I'll be left with around 1 inch or 1.25 inches depending on how wide you want your collar to be. So now after measuring your neck line, okay, you put it together like this, and then you measure it round. So whatever you have there, so remember that I'm measuring this on fold. So after measuring, I have 9 inches on fold. So now I'm going to put the band on fold as well. Okay, so about this band on fold measures about 27 inches, and then my neckline is 9 inches on fold. So I'm going to go ahead from the center here. I'm going to notch where the 9 inches is. Okay, I have 9 inches on fold. You are going to notch it on the two sides. So after notching the 9 inches, you go ahead and sew the other part, those parts that does not include your 9 inches. Okay, so you are going to put it, so you know your collar is from here to here, which is supposed to be 18 inches. Remember, 9 inches on fold, you multiply that by 2, you have 18 inches. So you can see that. So that other part, aside the 18 inches part, I'm going to sew it. So I'm going to sew it. That's going to be the rope that you're going to tie at the back. So I'm going to sew all these parts closed, leaving only this part opened. You're going to sew everything closed. So I have gone ahead to sew the rest. You can see this is where the neckline is going to be. That's the only open part. So you're going to use something to turn it out. We are doing this so that we'll have something as neat as possible. You are going to turn it to the right side. You are going to turn the two sides, bring out the pointed part, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side as well. So you will take your blouse now, and then you're going to sew the neck of the blouse to that open part. That is going to be the band for your neckline, the collar for your neckline. So you can see that I've turned it out. So to make this easier for you, you can go ahead and then iron the seam allowance first. That way you just slot in your neckline all around it. So I'll go ahead and do that now, and then I'm going to hem the sleeves and bring it back to show us what we have. So this is what we have. Remember, I left 1.5 inches. So if you want more gathers on your neckline, you just need to leave more allowance to create more gathers. And this is what we have on the waistline. You can see the elastic that gathers the waist to its normal waist measurement, so it makes it very adjustable. So this is what the sleeve looks like. This mannequin does not have a sleeve, so let me just put it so that you can see what it's going to look like. And this is the sleeve opening. So the sleeve opening does not have to be too small. it has to be comfortable because it's not a really tightly fitted blouse. And this is the collar that we created. So this collar goes all the way to the back, and that is what we use to tie the back as well. Remember, for the back we left like 1 1/4 inch open, like 4 inches open, sorry. So this is the 4 inches opening. I turned it in, and then my collar just extends to the back enough to tie it just like this. And this is what we have on the waistline of the back as well. So you just need to cut off your threads and then you iron it, and your blouse is ready. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful blouse design with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.